bit. I want to talk more about Marxist theory. Well, I say Marxist theory. It's not really Marxist theory, it's my theory. So, talk more about Amlin theory. Although Amlin doesn't sound as radical as Marx. Have such an explosive sound to it. It takes me it takes 45 minutes exactly to travel to my destination right now. But it takes me 20 minutes to upload this to YouTube, which isn't that bad. My brother got this home internet thing, so I just used that to upload it to YouTube. But I want to talk about communist theory. And okay, a lot of things to start off with, but well, ultimately what communism is it's just consolidation, collectivism. It's the minimizing of division, the minimizing of radiation. Well, not necessarily the minimizing of radiation. It's the minimization of speciation. That's what communism is. The combating of speciation. Globalism is communism. And well, I was watching this documentary called Sicko by Michael Moore. And what's funny about Michael Moore is I grew up being taught to hate Michael Moore. Because what's interesting about my family is everyone in my family is a leftist, a progressive. They're not as radical as I am currently, right now. But they are definitely on the leftist side of politics. The one exception to that is my dad and his uncle and his cousins. They are very very right wing. My dad was right wing. I grew up watching Fox News and whatnot, and I remember always being taught. And I also grew up in this conservative. Because when I was 14, I started a YouTube channel or an Instagram called Conservative Web. I was just so new to politics, and I was like, oh, conservatism is the true thing because that's what my dad is, and that he must know the truth. So I just started I became a conservative because of that, because I was born into it. I really didn't know what anything meant, personal responsibility. I didn't know what that meant. Because it's so cringe. I cringe at conservatives. They're so cringe. They have such a cringe ideology. It really makes me want to lobotomize myself. Being exposed to conservatism. But I was always taught to hate Michael Moore and that he's a clown and that he's this old fat guy. But then I watch his documentaries, I'm like, holy shit, this dude is fucking funny and he's just a great documentary maker. I watched Fahrenheit 9/11 and I watched Who to Invade Next. And I'm currently watching Sicko right now. And it's just fucking interesting how oh yeah, this guy's going fucking slow as shit. But it's interesting how I'll show you. This is what I see. The guy coming, I was like, what the fuck? But in America, and it's so stupid because it's so, what I fucking hate is borders. I hate borders. Borders should not fucking exist. Like America and Canada, it's the same country. It's just certain parts, because it's the same. When I say country, I'm referring to the black screen. when I say country, I'm referring to like land. It's the same land. It's just part of that land is under one government and the other part of that land is under another government. Part of that land is called America. The other part of that land is called Canada. But all it is just different jurisdictions, because that's all countries. Well, a country is like land. That's a country. And it kind of gets, that word gets used synonymously with the word state or nation, which is country plus government or jurisdiction, whatever the fuck. And it's just dumb, because like, how is like for example, Minnesota or Detroit in Canada are so much more similar to each other than Detroit is from like Texas. Yet Texas and Detroit are in the same country, whereas Detroit and Canada are not, and that it's stupid. There should be no like multiple different governments. There should just be one fucking government everywhere. Because there's only one constitution. There's only one truth, right? And that's what government should be based on, is that one truth. And you could have two governments which emerge that are completely unaware of either one's existence, but if they are both secular governments, they would have, their governments would be based on the same principles. They would be the same government, even if they have no idea of each other's existences. Like the United Nations and, you know, the world government of some other fucking alien planet, theoretically they would be the same government. Because they would have the same laws, the same understanding, and that's what their government would be based on, is objective and, well, you know, like is slavery, like worker exploitation bad, right? Is that necessarily a secular belief? Like, is that something that exists everywhere, or is that only local to Earth? The idea that, or the golden rule, treat others the way you would want to be treated, does that principle exist everywhere, or is that only local to Earth? I don't know, but I mean, these are principles that our government should be based on equality and whatnot. Oh, that's a nice drive. But anyways, in the movie, so Canada has like socialized medicine. If you get hurt, sick, or injured or anything, you just go to the hospital, they fix it up, like you pay $10. In America, and of course Canada is in America, it's the same fucking continent, but in America, i.e. south of the 38 parallel, you have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. And like people like Ronald Reagan, we need to purge Ronald Reagan from existence. All the bad people throughout US history, we need to like be like Stalin, just get rid of them, just completely erase their memory from existence. Counter-revolutionaries. What a Democrat needs to do, when I say Democrat, I mean leftist, like Labor Party, Whig Party, just leftist party. What they need to do is they need to frame the American Revolution as being a communist revolution, and frame the opposition party, the Republicans, the right-wing parties, as being the counter-revolutionaries. They were the ones who refused to unite. There's a deer. It was the right-wingers. Look at the deer, bro. It's still there. Oh, poor deer. Deers are like the most radical example of adaptive radiation speciation. But it was the conservatives that were opposed to the 1776 revolution. And it really is interesting because the slave owners, the thing about the American Revolution is the reason why it was fought, it's like, okay, there's no doubt that the war was fought. It was it was a northern war. The Whig, like the Northerners, wanted the war because they just fucking hated, they hated taxes, I guess. But it was the Northerners that wanted the war. The Southerners did not want the war, and Southerners tend to be Republican or conservative. The slave owners did not want the war because their way of life, i.e. the exploitation of people, was protected by the British Crown. By having a new government rule over you, you run the risk of having your way of life be abolished, which it ultimately was. The 1776 revolution ultimately led to the abolition of slavery. Of course, if 1776 never happened, slavery would have been abolished earlier. It's kind of it's very complicated, and then again, you have to understand, like, in another history, alternate history, would slavery have been, or would it have been like, it's just, there's so many different whatever, but yeah, what a Democrat should do is frame the American Revolution as being a leftist revolution, and say that it was the conservatives, just as the conservatives today oppose single-payer healthcare, it was the conservatives of yesteryear that opposed the American Revolution. Conservatives are antithetical. Conservatism is antithetical to the principles of the American Revolution. Frame it like that. Like that's what leftists should do, my nigga. They should totally just completely, like, frame conservatives and right-wingers as being, antithetical of that flag, U.S. flag right there. Because obviously the U.S. is a very right-wing country, with private healthcare, private schools, private property, everything private. Me. What can I do for me? That's the American mantra. It's all about me and my family. But no, that's anti. The American Revolution was a communist revolution. But it's ridiculous how the problem with capitalism is that inflation. What causes inflation is money. Well, I can't really frame it, or I can't really say it the way I understood it last night. But greed. Capitalism, because people, they want to be most energy efficient, and basically they want to be as energy efficient as possible, as any animal would want to be, right? And money is used to buy people's time, to buy people's whatever. So basically, the cost of something shouldn't cost a whole lot of money, but because of capitalism, its price is so artificially raised up because the person who has control of that has to pay for other services, which, in order to pay the person that has those services to provide for him, to provide to his services, he has to pay another person, so on and so forth. where everyone has to pay. Like, that's the thing about capitalism. It's I'm not good at explaining it, but money is artificially, like, everything artificially costs more than what it really should. Because in a single-payer system where everything is paid for by the government, there's no greed, there's no lucre, there's no, like, you know, there's no, like, artificial price hiking, because you need something, it'll be given to you, and the person who gives it to you is not having to pay, is not going to charge you what it costs for him to sustain that, because it does that. I hope that makes sense. I hope that what I said makes sense. This is where Patrick Mahomes, fucking star quarterback of the NFL right now, that's where he went to elementary school right here. I think he did. I mean, I don't know. I'm in his hometown right now. But anyways, it's just funny to me how, you know, America is the only right-wing place on earth. You know, I mean, like, we're always like, oh, socialism, we need to fear socialism, we need to fear socialism. I'm like, bro, like, Europe is socialist. I mean, I'm not talking about Eastern, I'm talking about, like, Western Europe. I'm talking about Britain, the home country of that, you know, the American colonies. It's from Britain. It's absurd. Capitalism, because people need to have fucking fancy ass cars like this Mustang right here. You know, like that car right there. Like, why do you need a fucking Mustang for? Or a truck, you know? But, like, God, I hate decadence. Like, people should not have more than what they need. If people have more than what they need, they should, like, the government should seize their property. They should, if people, like, people should not have more than what they need, and if they do, the government should seize their property. And the government should also tell people that they can only have a certain amount of kids. And, like, whoa, that's unfortunate. Well, that's too bad. And, for example, like, if white people are having too much kids, and we need to keep the gene pool diverse, well, then the government needs to say, hey, white people, stop having kids. Like, because we need diverse genetics, because we need dominant genes to survive and replace recessive genes. And if, like, Chinese people have so many fucking kids, and it's not healthy for the gene pool, for the international gene pool, and they're taking too much resources, we'll say, hey, Chinese people, you need to have less kids. In order to have kids, you should have to submit a form to the United Nations, and they have to approve that your genetics are fine to reproduce. And of course, like, I hate genetics. I'm not a racist. I hate genes. I wish we lived in a world where there was no genetics or any of that shit. The only reason I'm saying this stuff, twofold. Number one, the reason why we need to control certain populations is obviously because we need a healthy, diverse gene pool so that dominant genes can persist. Number two, when there's one group of people that reproduces a lot, that tends to lead to Nazism, racism, you know, tribalism, and that's completely antithetical to the United Nations Charter. So, but what's interesting is, like, you look on TV and see all these advertisements, It's like there's always fucking car commercials, bro. I swear to God, there's always a fucking car commercial. And the thing about capitalism, it's all like me. What can I do for me? What can I do for me? That's what capitalism is. It's not what can I do for us. It's what can I do for me. Christmas, capitalism, the reason Christmas still exists is because of capitalism. Because Christmas was originally created by the pagans in fucking like Norway to celebrate the winter solstice. It was supposed to celebrate the end of solar decay when days get longer. That's what it was celebrating, the beginning of the beginning. And then the Christians hijacked Christmas and turned it into, oh, it's about Jesus. It's about the birth of our cult leader. And then the capitalists hijacked Christianity and turned it into, oh, it's about buying cars. It's about gifts and spending money on stupid things that are not necessary. I fucking hate Christmas, dude. The older I get, the faster time goes, and it's like, oh my God, it's Christmas again. It's always fucking Christmas. And you see it on like ads and shit. I'm like, God damn it. And like October, it's always like Halloween, Thanksgiving. I'm like, bro, why do these seasons have to be polluted by this shit, man? Why does Christmas have to, why can't October just be fall? Why does it have to be, Halloween, Thanksgiving? Why does December December have to be, Christmas? Why can't it just be the end of fall, beginning of winter? Here are the ancient execution devices. Like, that's creepy as fuck, bro. Like, what is that even doing, dude? God damn it. What is that doing here? I was really considering like getting laser hair removal on my fucking facial hair, because that shit, because like I can't grow a beard, I can't grow like facial hair. I grow like 15. I look like a 15-year-old if I don't shave. I don't know, it's whatever. But, alright, I want to talk about Stanley cups. This is not a Stanley, it's a tall, but it's a 40-ounce cup. Like, it's like a Route 44 size drink. And what I like about this, and like, I got this thinking, I went to Walmart thinking I'd get a Stanley cup. I thought they sold them at Walmart. They don't, apparently. And I saw this instead, and it was $17. And I was like, alright. And the thing is, this is actually way better than Stanley, because this, this thing, it doesn't spill. I can take the straw out and I can do upside down and shake it up. Like, that's what I do. I make it a cocktail. In the morning, I put energy drink. In the night, I put whiskey in it. This is fucking But you can't shake up a Stanley Cup because the straw, it's like a thing that you just press through. You can't. You press through it like this thing. There's a trap door with a straw, so you press it through and it. So when it's shut, it stays shut. So you can shake it up and whatever the fuck. It's cool. It's innovative. It's a very good design. But Stanleys don't do that. So Stanley Cups are shit. They're fucking stupidly expensive. It's just funny how white women have completely co-opted Stanleys. God, white women, dude. Women in general are such. I don't like generalizing, okay, but women really are. They're not really that useful for. In a communist world, they're not useful. I'm talking about in a world after capitalism. Because women, they think about, like, what do women do? What are their professions? They're not proletariat. You know, women aren't out here, like, in the fucking, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd consider women to be proletariat, but... And, like, they exist and like, do they contribute to society? Because, like, in my opinion, if you don't contribute to society, if you don't contribute to the greater good, you're kind of a useless eater. Like, you probably shouldn't be alive, you know? And, of course, we should get rid of wasteful spending. So, if you're out here on a jet ski, you know, living your best life, no, like, you're wasting energy, dude. The fuel that needed to fuel that jet ski could have been used to fuel, like, something that it can be used to eventually cure cancer. Because ultimately, we need, like, our only priority should not be fucking jet skis and Stanley Cups and eyelashes. Oh my god, my eyelashes. No, our fucking priority should be the abolition of cancer. So if you riding a jet ski does not contribute to the abolition of cancer, you're a useless eater. You know. Kind of early, dude. But that's what capitalism, like cancer will never be cured in a capitalist system. Because there's no profit reason to do it. Why cure cancer? And if you did cure cancer, you would obviously sell the cure. I mean, you know, like profit, society based off profit rather than based off collectivism or whatever. You'll never cure. There's a glass ceiling. You'll never get past that glass ceiling. You'll never cure cancer. You'll never go to the moon. I mean, you'll never go to the moon. You'll never do any great achievements because you're too busy trying to, oh, how much money can I get? How much money can I get? How much money can I get? That's all capitalism is, dude. I fucking hate money, dude. It's funny because I grew up being taught to hate communism and to hate all that shit. And, like, now I'm like, nah, dude, communism is fucking base, dude. I'm proud to wear communist sticker. I want to get a communist sticker to display my communist ideology. But we all need to be working for the greater good, not for ourselves. It's not ask what you can do for yourself. It's not ask what your country can do for you. It's ask what you can do for your country. That's communism, bro. No. What JFK should have said is, don't ask what you can do for yourself. Ask what you can do for your country. That would have been cooler if he said that instead of don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. You should have been don't ask what you can do for yourself. Ask what you can do for your country. That would have been, like, so left-wing based. Of course, JFK was a leftist. I mean, he was part of the leftist party, the leftist faction, the Whig faction, which evolved into the Republican and then Democrat faction party. But and it's like, but we need centralized planning. And when I say centralized planning, whenever people say centralized planning, they tend to refer to like the market or the economy. But I'm not only talking about the economy. I'm talking about all aspects of life needs to be centrally planned. That includes birth. If there are too many men being born than women, well, let's do it the other way around. Let's have that more men be born, or more women be born. If that requires abortion, so be it. Prior to 20 weeks, that is. But or like, you know, if women, if our scientists calculate that, you know, women are being born and they're not really doing much for society, then simply reduce the amount of women that are born. You know, I mean, we need total centralized planning. There needs to be a central governing body that has complete control of everything else on Earth. The United Nations needs to have absolute power, absolute authority. The United Nations needs to build forts all across Earth, because Earth is its territory. Just as America is the U.S. territory, Earth is UN territory. America is UN territory. The UN needs to build forts in Palestine to protect the Palestinian people from the Nazi apartheid Israeli government. Just as the U.S. built forts in Arkansas to protect black people from the Nazi apartheid Arkansas government. Because whenever people are left to their own, whenever people are allowed to govern themselves, they will ultimately discriminate against minorities. That's why you need an outside federal force to, you know, protect minorities. Take Bashar al-Assad, for example. Bashar al-Assad is a great leader because he protects minorities in Syria. If you're Christian, he'll protect you from Islamic terrorists. If you're Kurdish, his government will protect you. And the Kurds, of course, are a bunch of fucking Nazi secessionists. They want to have their own Kurdistan. They want to secede. That, you know, they want a land for the Kurds. And of course, that's very right-wing and Nazi-esque. In Kurdistan, would the Kurdistan government protect non-Kurds who live in Kurdistan? Because then you have another secessionist movement within Kurdistan. You know, what about the non-Kurds? And you have so on and so forth, until every single individual household is its own state. And then you get to the point where every single atom is its own state with a nuclear arsenal. It's ridiculous, but it's like, bro, this is either every atom in the universe has its own nuclear arsenal, or there's only one nuclear arsenal. And of course, if there's only one nuclear arsenals are fucking pointless. What's the point of having a nuclear bomb if you're the only one who has a nuclear bomb? I don't have a sticker, but I don't think it matters. Okay, so I started this about 10 minutes into my drive. Does my hair look okay? Do I look like... But, you know, those are my communist beliefs. The idea that there should exist only one government. The idea that there should only exist one bank account. That we need centralized planning. If there are too many people on Earth to sustain, for everyone to have health care, then the obvious solution is to reduce the population. I mean, that's the basic duty of any government. I mean, if there's not enough resources for X amount of people to have health care, well then plan future generations to make it so that everyone does have health care. I mean, come on, like the fuck, this is basic common sense. Common sense population control. And the conservatives absolutely despise population control because unfettered reproduction, I talked about this, leads to division, it leads to cheap labor, it leads to so many things which prop up capitalism, prop up whatever. Where's my mouse?